Welcome to Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. This is where ideas spark, connections grow, and collaborations fuse success. Tune in for inspiring stories, expert insights, and game-changing conversations. Let's build, connect, and thrive together. Remember, collaboration is the key to success.
Hello, and welcome to Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast. And I'm your host, Wanda Pearson. Today, I'm joined by the incredible CoCo Collier, a powerhouse of purpose, passion, and collaboration. Whether she's leading, creating, or inspiring, CoCo is all about impact. Get ready for a powerful and uplifting conversation with my guest, CoCo. CoCo, say hi to the audience.
Hello, everybody. So happy
Yeah,
to
I am
be here.
so.
Thanks for having me, Wanda.
Oh, you are welcome. Which I really admire what you're doing because we're in the same kind of soul here because I like, my work is social work as far as mentoring and what you're doing. And we're going to talk more about you because I'm going to read your bio of what you're doing to help women to have some kind of outlet to be able to enjoy their lives too. I really appreciate you being on the podcast. And some of my people said, I haven't been on your podcast yet. So I pulled you in first, Coco. We're going
Aw,
to.
thank you.
It's dear to my heart what you're doing. I really appreciate what
Aw.
you're doing here. Let me read your bio. Coco Collier is a founder of Lumina of Help, a 100% volunteer-led nonprofit empowering women through retreats, mission trips, and real-life encouragements. She's also a speaker, book coach, and faith-based motivator who teaches on topics such as AI. Thank you for that training, girl. Got me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Canva, a personal branding, and self-publishing. From launching a nonprofit to building a movement rooted in hope, Coco's mission is to help women rest, connect, and thrive right where they are. I love this, Coco, because it really tells you, it gets down to the nitty-gritty of what you're doing. And
Thank you.
in fact, I think you really need to speak to June because you will be a good speaker at her event as well. I'm going to introduce you to her again.
I
But
love
welcome
that.
to the Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast. I am so
Thank you.
excited to have you here. Tell me a little bit more about you before I get into dive into the questions that I'm going to ask you. Something that I didn't ask you or you told me about.
Oh man, there's a lot about me, but one thing that some people don't realize is I am a preacher's kid, and my dad's dad was a minister as well. Sometimes I can get a little bit, how do I say? It sounds like I'm putting out a sermon when I don't mean to be putting out a sermon, but it is what it is. Just a little bit about me. I have two kids. My daughter is getting ready to go to college this fall, my oldest, and then my son is going to be starting high school. And so I'm in that weird phase. It's just weird. Things are weird right now.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you don't even look like you have a college student going to college
Oh,
yet.
you're so sweet.
No, that's awesome. And congratulations to your daughter because I know it's a lot of
Thank you.
graduations going on. We don't know
Mhm.
how our kids are going to turn out. And I have
Mhm.
two daughters, the same thing. Both of them, I said, college is not an option of not going. Both of them
Mhm.
graduated. In fact, one of them, she's my graphic designer, which you see my WPS
Yes.
Associates logo, as well as my QR code. But she actually creates the flyers that I send to people when they do a podcast. Yeah, so she
Nice.
does that. She's a graphic designer as well as her husband. So like I said, you never know
Oh.
what they're going to be doing. And the other
Mhm.
daughter, she is actually my interior designer. She also
Ooh,
makes my promotional items. It's a family
it's in the
affair.
family. I love it.
Yeah, it's a family affair. But no, this is interesting. And really, your son, he's starting a journey going to high school. And I know that's a
Mhm.
big step. And he's probably,
Oh, yes.
oh, what do I do, Mama?
Yeah. It's new to me, that's for sure. It's been so
Yeah,
many years.
yeah, yeah. It's good that your daughter can help him guide him along the way.
That's true.
So, yeah. Let's start with with the interview here. Let's start with your story. What led you to work what you're doing now?
Oh man, there was a few things. I actually had these conversations started happening about December of about a year and a half ago, I want to say, in our community, in our neighborhood. And they started when I would leave my house, I'd be at a grocery store or a gas station or Barnes and Nobles down the road. And for whatever reason, some complete stranger, a woman, would come up to me and we'd just start a conversation with me, and we start talking, and next thing I know, it's 45 minutes to an hour later, and the common denominator that I started noticing, this pattern I started seeing, is they're sharing about a time in their lives where they experienced hopelessness, the darkest time in their lives. And these women's, their ages ranged from as young as 18, as old as I think 81 was Winifred, this one lady I met at Barnes and Nobles. They started occurring here and there, and big pattern, right? And I started feeling like God was calling me to start a nonprofit
Yeah.
to help give women hope and connection, because there's one thing I've learned over time, and I'm going to not to sound a little preachy here, but the devil wants you to think that you're the only one going through what you're going through, and that's simply not the case. It's a lie that he tells and shares with women and
Yeah.
everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so we got to stop that. We got to stop that. And we can do that by giving them spaces to connect and share their stories. They actually know what I'm talking about. They're in the same
Mhm.
exact situation as I'm in. And he was starting to point that in my direction. At that time, I had made some radical lifestyle changes. I'd finally gotten my life into a nice, easygoing pace. I had uterine cancer 3 years ago, diagnosed with all these autoimmune things as well. I made radical lifestyle changes, stopped working at law firms, started working for myself as a consultant, published a couple books, very centered, grounded, a lot of time outdoors. My life was nice and cushioned for the first time in forever, right? I didn't want to do it. I was basically throwing a temper tantrum and telling God, no, pick anybody but me. It sounds like a lot of work. I don't know anything about a nonprofit. My life is easy right now. What are you talking about? We're in a good place. And so he said, that's fine, baby. You just keep being, you do you, boo. And if anything, it was almost like a joke because he dialed me up. And what I mean by that is the encounters increased, they doubled or tripled. They also started happening when I would go on vacation or work trips. And so much so, the final conversation sold me and slid me into that final moment where I said, all right, God, I give up. I'll do it. I'm all in. And once I verbally said that out loud and stopped throwing a temper tantrum, stopped throwing and stopping my feet, the doors have been opening left and right once I said yes to him. And that's how we started Lumina of Hope. I knew there was a Lumina in it. I knew hope needed to be in it some way, somehow. And I knew we needed to do retreats. That's what I knew, and I ran with it. And I said yes to him February 27th of last year. Let's see, May, we filed for our 501c3 approval. June, we received it. And we've made a huge impact in the short amount of time that we've been around. I joke that we are starting to enter our toddler phase. We just finished the baby stage, and I'm so excited because we are running. We went from crawling to running, and that's where we're at. And that's how I started Limit of Hope Foundation.
That's awesome. And I totally understand when you say God said, because I said, no, I don't look at this. I ain't planning on doing no podcast. I'm not writing a book, but God said, yes, you will. Yes, you will. You can't fight with me. Actually, it's funny because
No.
you talk about, I just told my girlfriend, I'm never writing a book. One of my clients called me and she's a minister. She said, Wanda, God told me to call you. I said, okay, what did he say? He wants you to be in our book, which was Audacity to Shine. I love the title.
Oh,
It was 10 of
yeah.
us that did that book.
It's
And that was the first
powerful.
time I actually started writing. I was always writing, like in a journal or whatever. But yeah, but
Mhm.
when he says, yes, she will. And then I got into another
Oh my goodness.
collaboration book, which is Impact of One Voice. And this young lady, she was from California. I hear you just, I said, I'm never doing this again. She,
Y-
I know. I wrote my book, God's Grace Through the Fire from Struggle to Triumph. And now
Yeah.
I am actually
Mm.
writing my fourth book, which is Forgiveness. And this is really something. And actually, I'm going to be having pre-book launch, relaunch with my book, and then talking about God's the great forgiveness. I hear
Mm.
you. You can't ignore
Good.
God. He's telling you what to
No.
just got to do what you got to do.
He's got a sense of humor, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does. He does. I'm like even speaking. I was dealing with abuse and somebody telling you not
Mhm.
going to be anything, and then to say,
Mm.
I am doing something. I know God is
Mhm.
behind this whole thing here. We are God's child, and He knows what He
We
wants. He
are.
uses us. And then I can see why people come up to you with the smile that you have, that you're
Oh.
inviting to people. I can see that. So
Oh.
yes, that is awesome. That's an awesome story. Let's talk about collaborations. Collaborations is
Sure.
the key to growth. Can you share
Mhm.
one meaningful collaboration that helped elevate your purpose?
Oh gosh, just one collaboration. Okay, I'm trying to think of what's the best collaboration.
Yeah.
Oh man. I feel, and let me just talk, like going way, way back, the way I've always viewed the different roles that I've had throughout my career and the different jobs that I've had, just like that work relationship with your boss, there's different I view as a collaboration. You're there as a team to work towards a common goal. And And everything I know about collaborations comes down to one leadership role that I had with this lady named Jane Perry at when I was in my 20s, early 20s. And she was the HR director. And she showed me and taught me how to work and collaborate with other team members in a way that I'd never experienced before. And it's forever been a way that has blessed me and helped me pursue the right collaborations, and realizing that not every team member or collaborations or partnership is going to be the right fit. And we have to be
Mhm.
okay with that. We have to figure out what that looks like, what's a healthy collaboration and partnership. And I've had several throughout the years, and I can't really narrow it down to just one. I just want to say that just like with my relationships, whether they're work related or friendship related or whatnot, I always view everything after that moment. I evaluate, how was that experience? Did that help us reach our goal? Did that help us better ourselves, them, myself, etc.? And I try to decide, if it wasn't a good fit, why wasn't that a good fit? Did it give you an icky feeling? And that's how I view collaborations and partnerships, and how I pursue them or I don't pursue them. And I think over the journey, my journey, I've really grown comfortable having uncomfortable conversations and saying, you know what, I love what you're doing, sis, but this just isn't a good partnership for us right now. That's hard to do, but yeah,
Mhm.
I just can't. I don't know. I can't, Wanda, you put me on the spot. I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one in particular one. It's just all these
No.
lessons I've learned along the
Oh, I
way.
understand. I understand. And that's a good one. That's a good one because we learn from working in the corporate. I work for corporate. I learned in
Yeah.
corporate and being a team leader. I had to
Mhm.
collaborate with, I went to Rio de Janeiro 3 times. I had to collaborate with them and us here in the
Yeah,
US. I totally understand. Yeah, that is a hard one to narrow down to say which
it
one is.
is.
Let's talk about the power of retreats, rest, and reconnection for women.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so much to it. We at Lumina of Hope, we had a women's leadership retreat last November. And every retreat is so different. I feel like, again, I'm always bringing up God, but I feel like He puts in the room the people He wants in that room.
Mhm.
And what I love that we saw come out of that, because that was our very first retreat away, was that here is a group of 15 women that are game changers in their community. None of them, really, a couple of them maybe have heard of each other, but they weren't close at all. We did not have to push anything. These relationships were just very organic. They connected in ways that I better ways than I could have even dreamt for them and imagined for them. And seeing that happen at the retreat, and how important it was for them to be with like minded people, to connect on this deeper level. We see them drop their guards as well and dig a little bit deeper and build those friendships. And afterwards, what was beautiful is that we've been able to see the actual business that's developed organically from that one moment, that one retreat. We've also had a retreat for our mothers that have a child with special needs, and that was an entirely different retreat. We had 15 women attending that retreat on sponsorships, and I'm sorry, scholarships, not sponsorships, scholarships. And that was a very different retreat. That was a 5 day, 4 night one. And what we noticed, this pattern is that some, again, women that have a child with special needs, that's the common denominator. That's it. All right. And so for
Yeah.
many of them, these women have not been able to have time away for 15, 20 years on their own, because they have nobody they can leave their child with to care for them comfortably. Right. For so many of these women, what I heard, they were so nervous to, first of all, make that commitment, so nervous the day before, the day of, to get in the car to drive there. Well, we don't know anybody here. What if we don't connect with anybody? And what was beautiful to see is how by that third day, again, people's walls were coming down. They were opening up their conversations, their spirit, what they're feeling, what they're going through. Some of them are seeing some similarities to the person, the woman that they're speaking with, right? There's so much rest that happened, healing, encouragement, and the connection that needed to give them this new hope. They've been running on like an empty gas tank for years, but out of the simple 5 days and 4 nights, that's all they needed. It gave them new hope, new purpose. One of the women, she took 4 naps one day. She's a young mama, has 3 kids, one of them very much on the spectrum there. 4 naps in one day. That's how tired this mama was. And we had conversations with so many of the women, and they feel invisible. They feel unseen. They feel like they're misunderstood. They're not. They're not heard in their community. They feel sometimes helpless. And seeing them connect with other women who are experiencing the same things and actually get hope out of that was
Mhm.
absolutely transformational. And it was such a special moment to see. So I am a firm believer in these retreats. There's some magical, beautiful moments that come out of it. And I'm so thankful that we're able to provide what we're able to provide to these women.
I love it. That is, look, you're an angel to them. Providing that. And I love that it's faith-based, the leadership that you
Thank you.
provide and building something bigger than you're building
Mhm.
what God and God, that's why God picked you to do what you're doing.
Well, girl, he tells me, he reminds me over and over again, I don't have to have the words because again, I had a speech problem for many years, and that's one of my hiccups is being nervous. I'm not gonna say this the right thing, right? You don't have to have the words, just like Moses didn't have to have the words. He had the
Right.
heart, and you have to have the heart. You have to make a choice because in the Bible, there's some beautiful greatness moments that come out of that, but he still leaves it in your hands. He still leaves it to a choice, a decision, an action moment. And that's a pattern in the Bible. My choice was to show up. And if I show up, he tells me and reminds me time and time again, I'll put the words in your mouth. I'll
That's
put you with the
awesome.
right people. And he's doing it.
Yeah, he is. And I tell you, it's just amazing, like what you said, what you're doing. And he's blessing it. He's bringing you the people
He
to actually
is
help you
so good.
sponsor some of
Hmm.
the retreats that you're having. I've never heard of this as far as what you're doing for women that actually,
Yeah.
I have a grandson that's on the spectrum. He's autistic. He's 15.
Yeah.
Smart autistic, but then my daughter, you can't leave her with everybody.
Mhm.
Take turns. We go out and babysit in North Carolina. Then they have my son-in-law's mother that babysits them because she has four kids. And I mean, the 20-year-old, which is up to you, but he's 15. That is something that because you all, they need a break. And my
They
daughter said, Mommy,
do.
you just don't know. Here she got four. I said,
Yeah.
my God, what the heck was wrong with me? I mean, I had two. Like my daughter here, she had two. But have two. That was a lot. I am so proud of you of what you're doing.
Thank you,
So
Wanda.
that is awesome. It's really awesome. I'm so glad I met you. Let's talk about what is Mama's Mission Trips and Miracles, bringing women together across borders, the different borders.
Yeah.
You're going to another country
Yes,
next
we
year?
are going to Guatemala next year in April. It's so amazing because some of the mamas, some of the women that have attended some of our community events, this conversation just popped up at this one fundraiser one day. And this one lady was like, she actually is faith-based. She said, I go to church and our church does a couple mission trips, and I want to do a mission trip, but I don't want to go build a house. I've never even been on one. I don't want to go with a bunch of strangers I don't know and a bunch of men and all this stuff. And but I still want to do it, but
Mhm.
I have all these reservations about it. Next room, 15 minutes later, completely different woman brings up a conversation of again a desire to go on a mission trip. Man, I would love it if my daughter and I could go do a mission trip together with just us. And then I'm like, okay, this is again our God is so dope. And I think this is a God is so dope moment because there's a reason why we're having these conversations 15 minutes apart, two different women, two different rooms next to each other. And I was like, why don't we do it? Why doesn't Lumen of Hope do a mission trip? I was like, I've been on personally many mission trips, right? My daughter as well. And we are more than capable of doing this. So why don't we do it? Why don't we show up? And so that's what we're doing. We're showing up, and it is a mission trip to Guatemala to serve single mamas and their children. It's for women only. And if they have a daughter and they want to bring their daughter, they can. You have to be 13 or older. There's four young teenage girls signed up right now. My oldest will be going there and leading them as well. She actually was born in Guatemala, and this will be her first time going back to Guatemala.
Mhm.
And so, a very spiritual, special, emotional moment for all of us.
Yeah.
But super excited. We're going to do it's the beauty about it being Lumen of Hope's mission trip is we get to design the things that we want to do. And we don't have to go and do that hard labor that some of the women's bodies are not ready for, right? Baby
Mhm.
mission trip, first one. So we get to customize that. What's beautiful is we're one day going to spend time putting water filtrations systems together. Then we'll go to these women's homes and install them. So we can do that one day. And that's not real labor intensive labor or not. But it's not just to install, we're there to minister, to have conversations with the mamas, to play with their children, to bless them with some hygiene hygiene products, some clothing as well. And that's just one day. Another day, we're going to do a VBS, Vacation Bible School type thing for some of the kids at this compound. And that's going to be amazing moment. Another day, we're going to do a sports camp for kids to come in and we get to minister to them that way. So it's going to reach some different type of kids, right? Maybe do some art stuff. And I'm so excited to see that happen. And that's in April of next year.
Wow, that is exciting.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing here, girl, you on a roller coaster here. You're doing
As long
so
as God
much.
gives me energy,
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I
I'll go.
I am so proud of you that you're doing that because a
Thank
lot
you,
of women
Wanda.
need that. They need that and they don't think that they can do it, but you're giving them hope. And that's why I like the aluminum of hope that you have as
Thank
far
you.
as your name here. So how do you balance ministry, motherhood, and managing multiple projects? How do you do?
Ooh, I've worked really hard at learning how to balance that. I
Mm.
will say that. I work hard at reading my body, reviewing, doing a almost like a personal scan. How's Mama Coco doing? That's what my son's friends call me. Mama Coco, how am I doing? Am I taking time for myself? Because it's taken me every bit of my 40 some odd years to learn that I was the last person that thought I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else but myself. So I have to make sure I do check-ins with myself and reflections and make sure that I'm remembering to give myself some self-care time. I am very organized and I've always been a person who loves lots of projects because I've always identified myself as a multi-passionate individual. So I always have what I call these buckets of projects, passion projects. And so my buckets shuffle around. And so I do good at blocking my time. I'll block my time and say, okay, and I'll do the do not disturb. And this is when I'm going to focus on this bucket, which is nonprofit related, this bucket, which is book related, this bucket, which is kids and managing the household related. And I work in that system. And if that system starts to break, I'm like, I hit the pause. I do not disturb for a couple days. I reset, go out in the woods, do some hiking, come back with some clarity. All right, I need to change things up. I need to be more restrictive on who gets to spend that time with me. It's not given to just anybody. I have to be selective. And I do it in a nice, kind, polite way. But when everybody wants to have a piece of you, you start giving out too many pieces, there's not going to be anything left of yourself. And so I'm very selective on who I spend my time with.
That's awesome because actually that's what my family told me when I was in Chicago. Wanda, you gotta slow
Really?
down. You gotta step back. You gotta I said, but I'm okay.
Mm.
I said, God will shut you down if you don't.
He does have a
Yeah.
way to do that. I know what they mean.
Yeah, I had some of
Mhm.
my cousins and my brother. You need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that. I said, but this is what God told me to do as far as that. So yesterday, I was in my
Yeah.
PJs all day yesterday because
Ooh, good for
I had to
you.
regroup. I had to regroup and start
Yeah.
working on the project. I got a lot of projects I'm working on, like Saturday.
Yeah.
Next the Wednesday, I'm on a TV station. So it's a lot of things
Yeah.
doing that I
Mhm.
have to say, okay. Let me slow down. And it's funny that you say that because that's actually what I'm going to be speaking on
Oh,
Saturday
really?
as far as that. Yeah. So as far as taking care of yourself, because you're taking
So
care of everybody
important.
else and it's time
Mhm.
to say no. No, I
Mhm.
do it. That's a big no. And it took it from one of my
Yeah.
girls, girlfriend. She said, Wanda, you got to learn how to say no. I said,
Mhm.
okay. And then I tell my husband no. And then I feel bad and then I do it. So it's a,
Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, and you keep
I know.
practicing, it gets easier.
Yeah, it really does. So now let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So how has your faith shaped your business and nonprofit journey?
As my faith shaped
Your
my
faith.
business and my non oh, man, it affects everything. It
Mhm.
really does. And just like you just shared with me how your family's telling you need to slow down, need to slow down, but God's told you what you need to do.
Yeah.
And so, respectfully, sometimes we have to tell other people, even if it's your family, sorry, God's got me on this one. Like I've got that confidence in God that He has me. And thankfully that faith is what gives me new energy and gives me purpose. I joke about it because I had friends like, how are you going to do this when you've got your consulting business? I get it that you need to do this and you want to do it. And if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it, Coco, because they know me at this point and but they also know that I've had struggles with autoimmune stuff. I've had the cancer stuff, the lack of energy things, all of this stuff, right? since I said yes to God, what's beautiful and what's faith is that comes to play about this is since I said yes to him, he's given me that 20-year-old energy. And if I need, especially while I was launching Lumina of Hope, there were times where I worked all weeks, all weekends, because I was also doing my consulting business. There's times when he would wake me up at 3 a.m. and be like, get on your computer, you're going to write this up, you're going to send this up, you're going to update the website, you're going to put this and that. And I was fine, which is weird. He gave me the energy, he gave me the clarity,
Yeah.
and he also teaches me when to hit the pause button, how to read my body, my signals. Okay, mama. All right, mama, it's time for you to get those PJs on. We need to regroup, we need to reset. All right, downtime. And then it's 2 days later, he's like, all right, let's hit that pause button again. And you're going to hit the play and you're going to get going. You're going to go on the fast forward now because that's the energy he gives to me. So my faith has played a huge role. Like our women's leadership retreat was not necessarily faith based. We're still praying in the sidelines, and I still see God show up. And so many, what I call is like God is so dope moments. And that is phenomenal to see. Like what if you can to how do I explain what a God is so dope moment is like you could say, okay, what is the most wildest, strangest thing that's a weird connection that comes full circle back to you? That's a God is so dope moment. And he has I'm probably over 200 God is so dope moments at this point. Too many to keep track of. That's how he shows up and how my faith plays in Lumina of Hope and in my relationship and my life.
That is awesome. I tell you, I love hearing what you're saying. But now you do another thing because you actually came to a Vibe Woman group and taught Canva and AI,
Did. I
personal
did.
branding. So is that part of your business
Yes.
as far as what do you do with
Yes.
AI and Canva? It's all I
Yes.
look, Canva is my personal assistant. I'm sorry, my AI is my personal assistant. AI helps me
Yes.
out a lot. I tell you, when you get
She's
stuck,
your bestie.
yeah, yeah, because they know so much about you already.
They do. It's almost scary.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we're gonna slow it down because I want to ask you
Yeah,
a couple more questions.
absolutely. One thing, again, since I said yes to God on February 27th of last year, one thing that he has pushed me, well, he has pushed me into so many uncomfortable moments in conversations and pushed me to what I call is like a fear bubble. He's pushed me so much so that I know that there's something I'm completely entirely dreading. But once I pop through that fear bubble and make it to the other side, there's something magnetic
Yeah.
that's transformational that happens, and it's gonna leave me for the better good. It's happened so many times now that I don't stay in that fear bubble. I push through that fear bubble very quickly. And when it's something that scares me, I maybe get scared for only 3 seconds versus 3 months now because I know there's something really good on the other side of that. The me speaking in front of everyone for that one event, that's my second big event that I spoke at. That's a fear bubble moment for me because again, I had speech lessons for 4.5 years as a child. I'm a preacher's kid. Were put up on stage early. I was
Mhm.
always a singer. I always sang and led, praise and worship, did the choir thing, harmony thing, right? Speaking, I rarely ever did. And so that's always something in my head. If there's something that's still pulling you back, holding you back, it would be public speaking.
Mhm.
And that was a huge moment for me because I'm very passionate and confident in Canva, AI, ChatGPT, all that stuff. And my whole business is on how I can help small businesses excel, streamline their processes. It's very easy for me. This is something I've always taught other small businesses to do and their team of employees to do, but I've never been up on stage. I've never had the microphone in this type of field and I'm speaking and I'm teaching. That was a whole nother level. There's something beautiful that he reminds me time and time again that I just have to show up. And let me tell you, I pray the hours, if you knew the hours I'm logging praying up leading up to that speaking event, it's ridiculous. You would think I was
Mhm.
dying or something because it's next level. And God does take over. He shows up, he takes over my body, he takes over my words, the words of my mouth, my body language, how it's projected, all of that. He takes
Mhm.
over and shows up. And then it's like I blink and I'm out of this trance almost. I was like, what just happened? I just did it. Like, really, God did it. He really showed up and he shows off. And that's
Yeah.
what's beautiful. And that's what I enjoy about doing things like that.
Oh, he does everything that I'm doing. Like I'm speaking on Saturday. I was like, okay, what do I do here? Just like this podcast. I didn't think I could do it.
Yeah.
It was just like,
You,
oh my God. I said, this is
girl,
stuff that I
yes.
didn't expect to do. But
Well,
hey,
my phrase for this year, and it sounds like it could be your phrase or should be your phrase, is being bold brings bountiful blessings. And that's my
mm,
reminder to be bold because I can't be a spokesperson for Lumina of Hope and the women I'm trying to serve and help and
yeah,
connect with if I'm not bold and I'm not brave enough to show up and start
mhm,
talking.
yeah, I
So
love
kudos
that.
to you for being bold and showing up and doing
Thank you. I love that. You got to send me that phrase. I love that phrase.
it.
What
Yeah.
advice would you give someone who feels called to do more than where they are, what to start? So what?
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's an easy, it sounds easy. It was
Mhm,
hard. I remember I threw that temper tantrum for months. So my thing is you got to have confidence. You have to have confidence and enough in God that he's got you. And here's what's beautiful in that confidence. That means you don't have to stress, you don't have to worry, you don't have to be fearful because he is fearless, he is limitless. The only limitations and restrictions you have in your life or you think you have in your life are the ones that society has told you and that you've listened to and you've let the devil tell you about because
mhm,
he's a God of abundance,
yeah.
right? So once you have that confidence, you just say yes to him. And guess what? You don't have to worry about all of that. He will literally line things up, open the doors that need to be open, and he will close the ones that need to be closed. And you got to be comfortable
Mhm,
and have that confidence in him. He's got
mhm,
you. Let
yeah.
him do it. Stop stressing about it. Let him do it. And he'll
Yeah.
open those doors and show you which way to go.
I love that confidence. Confidence.
Yes. Yes.
That's a good word. That's a good word. I love
It
that.
is a good word. I love it.
Yeah. So just for fun, what's one thing most people don't know about Coco Collier?
Oh, okay. So I will. This is kind of. I am a little bit of a nerd. Actually, a big nerd. I'm a closet nerd. I love sci-fi, dystopian novels, things like that. Videos, movies. Like I grew up watching like Rambo and all these other stuff. There's probably that, and then I'm also a little bit of a tree hugger. Most people have their photos. They're scrolling through it, and I do have photos of my kids and my dog and all that stuff, but I
Mhm.
have a lot of photos of trees and mushrooms that
Okay.
just make my heart happy.
Okay. That is awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I like Rambo. I love Marvel movie. I'm the same way. I love those kind. I like action.
Yes.
I love karate, martial arts. I love all
Yes.
those type of movies. Now, my husband, I said, "You want to go see?" No, I want to go see this, but he goes whenever I want to go. But
Well, let's go see movies together. We can
yeah,
be movie buddies.
yeah, exactly. I would love that. I would love that. So I am so happy that you came on the show, but tell the audience how they can get in touch with you because you got so much to share
Absolutely.
and how they can actually,
Absolutely.
with your nonprofit, what they can do as far
Yeah.
as to help your nonprofit.
The easiest way to learn more about Lumen of Hope is by going to lumenofhope.com. You
Mhm.
can see about the retreats we're doing, things in our community, the mission trip as well, and learn more about sponsorship and scholarship opportunities. You can also go to our business pages. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, but you'll hear a lot more probably by following me on social media is Coco Collier, just CoCoCollier. And I usually post most of the stuff on my personal account. I'm very passionate about igniting other people's passions. That brings me joy. I want to see every person, especially a small business, be successful. And I also am passionate about helping women just find some hope in the darkness, some light in the darkness to learn how to bend that darkness. And that's where my confidence comes into play. You can find more about me at Lumina of Hope, or you can go to cococollier.com, either one.
Hey, all right. This has been a treat here. Coco,
Oh,
thank
thank
you
you.
for being here and sharing
Thanks for
your
having me.
such a powerful insight. Your words remind us that purpose and partnerships go hand in hand, right?
Yes.
To
Yes.
everyone listening, keep showing up, stay aligned, and remember, collaboration is the key to success. I'm Wanda Pearson, and we see you next time on the Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast. Also, make sure you all follow, and with Coco here, follow her. I'm going to have it in the show notes, but follow our podcast. I have so many incredible guests on the show. Thank you again, Coco. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And I'm going to have you on again because I want to see the updates on that trip that you were. if you're planning there. So
I love it. Would love
thank,
to.
thank you,
Bye.
audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That wraps up another episode of Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to help you build meaningful connections and successful collaborations. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more great discussions. Until next time, keep collaborating and making an impact.